The Trillion Dollar Coach by Alan Eagle, Eric Schmidt, and Jonathan Rosenberg. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Samuel, and I want to make self-growth normal. If you want to make self-growth normal, because I don't want to do it alone, and who doesn't want to make self-growth normal, then make sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It helps with ranking and SEO and all this other stuff, and I really appreciate it, because so much work goes into making these videos. Hi, sugar. This book is about Bill Campbell, the Trillion Dollar Coach. He was originally, I think, a football coach, but there aren't trillions of dollars in football, so he turned into a sales guy. And then he turned so influential that he ended up going on weekly walks with Steve Jobs, and the Google founders said that they could not get where they are without him. Google, which by the way, and Eric Schmidt, one of the authors of this book, was a CEO of for, I think, 17 years. As a coach, one of Bill's greatest weaknesses, perhaps his greatest, was that he cared more about his players than he probably needed to. Is that really a weakness though? Like, come on, really? Adam Grant, the author of a book I just reviewed, wasn't really sure what to say about Bill. I think he wrote the foreword of this book. He didn't know much at all because Bill, quite frankly, hated the public eye. So Adam spoke with as many of Bill's mentees who said that, you know, is mentee the word? Mentees who said that Bill gave them their worldviews. He spoke with as many as he possibly could. He left every conversation with 12 more names written down of people who fit that description. And he found himself wondering, how could someone do so well for others while doing well for himself? To be a great manager, you have to be a great coach. And this guy was basically the greatest business coach ever. He really was. The thing is though, for me, at least, I did not even need a book like this to know that. Just hearing about him from other books. Experts didn't develop, let alone test theories that Bill was proving in the 80s until decades later. Adam Grant, the guy I just mentioned, he's used all his methods and they all work. Adam is not like a tennis coach or something like that. There's nothing wrong with tennis, but I played for a year. It's actually really fun. But Adam trains business students in Wharton. I believe he's done it for over 10 years. Again, if I haven't said this before, when you read books like this, you are compressing decades into days. Coaches roll out their sleeves and get their hands dirty. They don't just believe in our potential, they get in the arena, they help us realize it. They hold up the mirror so we can see our blind spots, and they hold us accountable for working through our sore spots. They take responsibility for making us better without taking credit for our accomplishments, and I can't think of a better role model for a coach than Bill Campbell. The first chapter is The Caddy and the CEO. This chapter offered a lot about Bill's background and what his football method had to do with business coaching. The typical way of football coaching, which at the time Bill did not do, really at all, was this way that they called dispassionate toughness. But as you can imagine, study after study is now beginning to show that compassion, at the very least in business development, is completely key to effective leadership. Maybe you know about John Scully. He was the Apple CEO when Steve Jobs wasn't, from 1985 to 1997. Campbell knew Scully through, I believe, Scully's wife. She was like the dean at Columbia where Campbell coached. There's a whole section of people who they listed Bill Campbell coaching while he was coaching Eric Schmidt. It was like 30 different people. He coached this person, he coached this person. The most notable two that I remember were Al Gore, former vice president, and Sheryl Sandberg, the Facebook COO. I didn't think Campbell had a hand in Facebook. He also had a hand in Apple, Google, and Amazon. I don't think I heard anything about Amazon in this, but I swear that I've heard multiple things about Bill Campbell in books about Amazon. So I don't know. If that's the case, then now he would be a $3 trillion, maybe almost $4 trillion coach. Like, to say this guy was ahead of his time, it's understatement. In the chapter, Your Title Makes You a Manager, Your People Make You a Leader, Bill was the type of guy who, like, the way people described him, if the world leaders treated their teams like he treated his, I think the world would be a better place. And unquestionably so. Here's a section that stood out from this chapter. Lead based on first principles. Define the principles for the situation, the immutable truths that are the foundation for the company or product, and help guide the situation from those principles. This chapter talked a lot about really a lot of things like operational excellence, putting people first. Ugh, excuse me, that burp didn't even taste like anything. The most disgusting burps are the ones that don't taste like anything. But like I said, putting people first, communicating well, getting the most out of difficult and challenging people, focusing on product excellence, and even treating people well when they're let go. The next chapter, Build an Envelope of Trust. Much of what you see in your modern, everyday, corporate environment in leadership, I have to say you might read a book like this and think, these people have a lot of work to do. As it turns out, coaches need to learn how self-aware the coachee is. They need to not only understand the coachee's strengths and weaknesses, but ensure that the coachee understands his or her strengths and weaknesses as well. Where are they honest with themselves? Where are the blind spots? It sounds like something someone would say in a position like Bill's, someone who, by the way, is a very dedicated follower of shame researcher Brene Brown's books. Admittedly, listening to the audio version, I was kind of like, what are my blind spots? Like, am I coachable? If so, how much? If I weren't in auto sales, by the way, I think it'd be a lot harder to give myself an answer to that, but the next chapter is team first. There are like a number of different techniques in the book that Bill most often used working with teams, from picking the right players to promoting gender diversity. He took that one really seriously. Like, anyone who thinks that, like, you know, women shouldn't be in like the main table, like, Bill's gonna he's gonna tell you to get out of the room. He's gonna yell at you, actually. He's not just gonna say it. To bringing everything to the table, and I mean, you know, including women, everyone, to preventing small misunderstandings from becoming big. He took honesty more seriously than anything. Maybe not anything. He took loyalty and trust incredibly seriously too, but, you know, they go toe to toe. Filling the gaps between people and just helping teams achieve greatness. What did confuse me, and it really sounded like Bill had the greatest impact on Alphabet and Google, I don't know why that is. The way that they described it in this book, it might have to do with the fact that one of the three authors, or two of them, worked for Google, and one of them was the CEO for 17 years, is that there are times when the authors mentioned, well, you know, Eric didn't have time for this, and Sundar, the current Google CEO, Sundar Pichai, he didn't have time for it either. For example, like speaking to team members about a certain conflict. Most of what these people were working on, Bill didn't even care about or really know about. The only thing they really cared about was that they were communicating with each other trustingly, honestly, and transparently. So much of his job, which was not a really natural job, because, I mean, no one really, I mean, how many business coaches are there? It's not a typical thing you find in corporations like Google. Maybe it is now. But it naturally focused on emotions and why people do what they do and what makes them do these things, which had nothing to do, correct me in the comments if you guys think I'm wrong, with the actual work that they're doing. I feel like I just repeated myself. But is this book just like for people looking to become business coaches? Is it for managers? They mention that later on in the book, but it has to be because these guys said that everyone has to be coachable. What are managers supposed to do in those conflicts if they don't have time? Are they just supposed to hire a great business coach and get them familiar with the company, of course, and take it from there? It kind of sounds like that's really the best idea. The next chapter, The Power of Love. Bill got to know every single person. This guy honestly sounded like a total extrovert. Every single person and what motivated them. He was like a people sponge. You know someone cares when you have a bad press release saying that you're like one of the most sinister people of Silicon Valley, and they sit you down in an office and they start yelling at you and saying, what would your mother think about this? Again, it seems almost natural, like this was just something he was meant to do. To be a business leader, to take megalithic corporations like Amazon and Apple and meet with them once a week or their senior executives and completely turn around their operations from the inside out. But what did the negative reviews say of this book, and what do I think of them? Do I agree? Usually I agree with negative reviews more than I expect myself to. Ubaidu said that what he or she learned from this book can be summed up in 2 lines. Bill was a great coach, and it's good to have a coach for anyone, especially top-level executives at a company. Ubaidu would say that the book could better be summed up in an online article than an entire book. The leadership ideas from this book are very well highlighted in books like 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John C. Maxwell or Dare to Lead by, like I said, Brene Brown. When there's a lot of other work on the same subject by the time Bill died, plenty of it most likely stemming from his own work in the field of business coaching alone, it does beg the question, what necessitates a book like this? I was just interested in hearing how Bill thought about things. Honestly, I wasn't really expecting to get much more out of this book. Call me crazy. There are plenty of other reviews calling the book a eulogy, not a playbook. I think it's kind of weird that the authors didn't, I don't think I heard the word eulogy at all. I don't really think this book is like a eulogy in the eyes of the authors, but I definitely see it as a little bit of both. I don't think it was that clear what they were trying to accomplish, but it doesn't seem like you can have a playbook and a eulogy in something like this. You can't have one without the other. You know, one thing I don't really understand is why they didn't speak about any mistakes, really, that Bill made, like, or obstacles he had to overcome or learn from. Not that a book like this needs those, especially if it's a eulogy like these reviews are saying. But I'm a little surprised that these people had nothing but good things to say about him. Maybe it was because of the impact he made on them, or because of, you know, this is what Bill would have wanted in a book like this if we were to write about him, which he would not have preferred, or that he hated the public eye, or why would they even bring those things up? I don't know. Something else I wish they did more of in the book is talk about his experiences with John Donahoe of eBay and Jeff Bezos with Amazon, just other very reputable companies. This overall, it seems, was a biography of not Bill Campbell, but the success of his coaching method and how he brought it to life. If you study the world's biggest companies and the ones he's coached, plenty of Silicon Valley has been almost permanently injected with the DNA of his approach. To say he's missed, probably just like saying that, you know, he was ahead of his time, it's an understatement. But it's clear that the way most successful business teams in the world, the way they function, they're keeping his way of doing things alive. Quotes. Since Bill couldn't jump high enough to clear the hurdles, he just ran through them, bruising his way all the way to the regional championships. The other people I had interviewed had a cookie cutter approach to developing people. You can have any color you want as long as it's black. Bill was a Technicolor rainbow. Why is marketing losing clout? It forgot its first name. Product. Bill couldn't stand BSers. Bill's opposition to BSers wasn't as much about their dishonesty with others as it was about their dishonesty with themselves. With Bill, there was no elephant in the room. Or more accurately, there might have been an elephant, but it wasn't hiding in the corner. He bought cases of nice red wine to pour at his annual Christmas party, not because he enjoyed wine, but because he enjoyed watching his friends enjoy wine. It is often the highest performing people who feel the most alone. Direction 1. I definitely recommend this book for anyone looking to get into business coaching than anyone else. If you're going into business coaching, this book is for you. Direction 2. If you like this book, especially if you're not a business coach or looking to get into business coaching, and you just wanted to check it out, where do I start? So many books. The Four by Scott Galloway, What Would Google Do by Jeff Jarvis, and The Hard Thing About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz, who Campbell also coached. Trillion Dollar Coach by Alan Eagle, Eric Schmidt, and Jonathan Rosenberg. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check it out and read the reviews. That and all the other books I mentioned in this video if you want to check those out too. If there are any other books that you guys want me to check out and review, please let me know in the comments below. Also let me know if you checked out this book and you liked it. If you guys buy anything through the links in the description, then I get commission, which helps me build this channel and keep making these videos. But hey, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because I don't get why people watch this far into my videos and they don't subscribe. Sugar, why don't they subscribe? But if you have subscribed and you want to turn it up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to get a notification whenever I drop new videos, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere, and I will see you then.